People across social media are sounding the alarm, warning others to prepare for what they believe could be difficult times ahead.
I don't think we're grasping the severity of the situation. I am sitting here shaking because I just got off of my weekly team call where my boss basically understands that we are all, on the right side of history and said, how is everyone doing? Because apparently today we are going to destroy a civilization. And I said, not so good. And so did everybody else. So everyone feels it, everyone knows. And I think that it is time to truly talk about the solution. Call me a fearmonger, tell me I'm unreasonable, tell me that you have a job to go to so you don't get fired or bills to pay so you don't lose your home or mouths to feed. I don't think you understand the severity of the situation and how quickly we could turn it around.
It has quickly become a much larger conversation about fear, uncertainty, and how everyday families react when the future starts to feel unstable.
Okay, Operation Underground Storage has begun. All the vehicles are moving in. We got the families moving into place. This is the mine where we're going to be held up for months. We're preparing, man. I told you, we had to get ready for what was coming. So we've got our families and stuff. Food storage is good up. We're packed up pretty tight in here, but it's going to be good to go, man. You know what I mean? Better safe than sorry. So we're getting loaded up. Everybody's moving in. We have different families in different sections. Right on. You got to be prepared. We've reinforced this just in case of any blast up above, but we are literally under a mountain here. You got to be ready for what's to come, people, and we are. Right on. Like I said, we're packed in there a little bit tight. We're going to make this work. About 400 families down here.
Some people point to rising prices, shortages, job insecurity, and global conflict.
I'm 46 and I've never seen the world this horrible before. It's so funny to me that people are so unconcerned with the world around us. We just wake up, we go to work, we eat, we drink. And you see that the world is increasingly getting worse and you don't think that something is coming? How can you be so blind? That's just my interpretation of it. But I look at this world around me. So that's what I think. I truly believe we are in the last seconds of the last days, but getting back to that's what was happening in the days of Noah. People were doing their normal thing, and then the flood came.
Attention all U.S. citizens. In exactly 5 days, we are all cooked. Now, if you don't already know, the U.S. is receiving its last oil shipment from Iran on April 15th, which means a couple things. One, gas prices are going to skyrocket. Yeah, we already knew this, and we said this last time, and they never skyrocketed, but I'll explain why it's really going to happen this time. We're currently experiencing gas prices rising because other countries who have already lost access to gas and oil deliveries are bidding to purchase the gas that we are purchasing from other countries. We are going to turn into one of those countries outbidding the other countries. So it's not just going to go up $1 or $2. It's going to go up $6 to $7.
Others simply say they feel like something bigger may be coming, even if they cannot fully explain it. Many of these videos share the same emotion, anxiety. People describe waking up, going to work, paying bills, and trying to maintain normal routines while feeling like the world around them is becoming harder to recognize.
If you can get gas tonight, Sunday, April 12th, you must do it because gas is about to go through the roof. You think gas is expensive now, it's about to get worse. And here's why, and please pay attention. So by now, I'm sure you've heard that the Strait of Hormuz has been closed. The Strait of Hormuz is a waterway, and basically there's a bunch of oil tankers and all kinds of vessels that are stuck over there carrying all sorts of goods, and they cannot get out because of the war that's going on between the United States and Iran. It is shut down. This is making prices skyrocket.
Now this is an eerie feeling when you pull up to the truck stop and all the gas is gone.
Completely empty tank. It's $4.06 a gallon, $4.07. $70. It's going to be $80 to fill up my tank almost. Insane.
I am at yet another grocery store. I'm trying to find jalapenos. This is the 5th grocery store I've been to. And there are other things that are becoming sparse. Fruits and veggies. see here. A lot from, areas south of us. I'm not sure what the deal is. There are a lot of things that are missing in the, and I think this is the symptom of what's to come. Like there's more. There are things that are being shorted. Like you can see it, but they're kind of hiding it. Some of the salads, vegetables. This is crazy.
They talk about groceries costing more than they did last year, fuel prices climbing, and household budgets becoming tighter every month. Others mention supply chain problems, economic pressure, and the non-stop cycle of negative headlines.
So yes, this is me quietly prepping for what may come without trying to raise alarm with my husband and my kids because they already think I'm crazy. So he decided to barbecue today. So I'm like, okay, cool, we can barbecue. But yeah, I got extra charcoal, like 6 bags. So we got extra charcoal, some extra rice, some ramen, some extra waters, even though I just bought all this stuff yesterday. That's fine. But we also about to grab a case of this corn and some beans. So we're gonna also get about 6 bags of these pintos that are on sale for $2.29 a bag. Grab some of them and some northern beans too. I'm gonna grab a couple bags of those. They're on sale for $3.49. $3.29. We're gonna grab about 4 bags of those. So for me, the key is me grabbing these things without them knowing.
Whether every prediction being shared online is accurate or not, one thing is clear: the stress people are feeling is very real.
I never thought I would be someone who spends this much time thinking about how my family would survive an energy shortage. But here we are. I can't even believe that this is a real conversation happening in my head. I never imagined this. Part of my brain keeps saying, get ready. You're not taking this seriously enough. You need to prepare for the worst case scenario. We have a wood stove, water filter, things like that, right? Which just, I think, naturally make us more prepared than other people. But there are also bigger decisions like solar power, for example, that cost real money and would completely change how we plan for the future. I'm just frustrated that this is something that so many of us have to think about. It turns into like this constant internal calculation. There's also this quiet disbelief that this is what normal life is starting to feel like. I'm running risk scenarios in my head and thinking about things I never even considered. At the same time, another voice says, are you seriously planning your life for something that may never happen? Like, it feels ridiculous to prep, but then it also feels ridiculous not to. I just don't believe anymore that everything will just stabilize and continue the way it always has. That ship has sailed, and that's probably one of the hardest things to process. 2 years ago, I would have laughed if someone told me this is what I'd be struggling with. But now I think about it regularly. I know that I cannot be the only one living in this in-between space, trying to be responsible without letting worst case scenario ideas take over my daily life. Carrying all that tension all the time is exhausting. Is anyone else feeling the same way?
Another major theme is preparation. Some families say they are quietly stocking up on practical basics like rice, beans, canned goods, bottled water, batteries, flashlights, medicine, and household supplies.
I've been preaching this for a couple of weeks now, and I've been telling y'all that we are about to see a time where a bunch of trucking companies go under. It is at 589 in Bulls Gap, Tennessee. I left Portsmouth, Virginia this morning, and the closer you got towards there, it was in the 630s. It is going to be $7 here shortly. That whole ceasefire, that was just temporary. They're back. They're back at it again, right? So with that being said, I'm going to switch this video up for just a tad bit, and I'm going to tell you what you may need to go and get. I need you to go and get some non-perishable items. I need you to go and stock up on some water. Don't do it all at once. Don't go crazy buying 5,000 gallons of water. Piece it together, right? Piece it together. But I need you to go and get yourself some water. I need you to get yourself some non-perishable items, because these trucking companies, like I said before, they are going to go under, and that's going to be less trucks to move this stuff. And as there is no oil coming over here, that means they're going to start capping off the fuel at the pumps, which they are already doing. Not for trucking, I haven't heard, but in Florida, I did hear that they are capping off fuel there. I can't stress this enough. A lot of people, I've seen a couple of comments saying, oh, we made it through COVID and blah, 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 blah. This is not COVID. This is totally different. This is totally different. They cut off a whole supply of oil. That didn't happen during COVID. So with that being said, like, you're about to see a lot of changes if shit doesn't get back straight. So the stuff that I just told you that you need to go and get, you need to hurry up. Not hurry, but you need to, piece it together and get the things, the necessary things that you need, because you don't want to be waiting to the last minute to get the stuff that you need and not be able to get it. That's all I gotta say. Peace.
Hi guys, I thought I would do a video that shows you what's going on with our water supply. And it is way down there, all this, okay? Over here, same thing, and it is 4 deep. Here's more. Okay. More. Then let me take you over to the other side. Okay, these are our 5-gallon containers. All of this. Okay. Here's more on this end cap. Okay. Water throughout that refrigerator. Let me open it up. All labeled. And then come over here. More here. More down here. More down there. More down there. More down there. All the way up here. Over here. Over here. Okay, underneath the stairwell, those there stacked there, all that, and that goes back 6. That is a year's supply. 1/2 gallon maximum per person, with 1/2 gallon per day for the dogs. We have 4 dogs. And it's going to be for drinking and a little bit for laundry. And we're going to conserve. We have life straws. We have water purification taps. But when I say stock up water, That's a representation of what I mean.
The primary impact that we're seeing here due to the war in Iran is a price surge at the pump. But it won't be too long before we start seeing other things grow in price as well. Things like food, because the price of fertilizer has gone up by more than double for our farmers, and diesel, because food doesn't just magically appear on grocery store shelves. It has to be shipped to us, and diesel fuel is incredibly expensive right now. So the reason I think we need to talk about this is because I think a lot of people are not getting this information. My partner, who is a very well-informed person, had no idea that Ireland was essentially shut down. Now, what happened in Ireland was that there were huge surges in the price of petrol, and people basically started protesting it. They said, we can't afford this. So the country has essentially been shut down as a result of both shortage as well as protests. This is also exacerbated by panic buying. So there's been rationing, and basically the tankers can't get to the stations to restock because of the protests, and it's like a cyclical thing. It just feeds off of itself. So I know Ireland feels pretty far away, as does a lot of the rest of the world that's experiencing fuel shortages as a result of the shutdown in the Strait of Hormuz. But it is going to reach us eventually. And I just want you to think for a moment about what it would be like for you as an American who lives in a neighborhood where commuting might not be very realistic, right? A lot of the United States is in this suburban landscape, highly distributed from places like their work or the places where they get groceries. So having a car is essential to basically the functioning of our lives. Imagine what would happen if you couldn't go to work, or if you couldn't get to the grocery store. And in a lot of these neighborhoods, it's not even a question of, oh, just take the bus, right? Like, cities are built in a way that you can use public transportation, but there are many, many communities in the United States where there are no viable bus lines within any kind of reasonable distance. So if you aren't the type of person who can just hook up a trailer to your bike to haul off to the grocery store or, go to work, we might be in big trouble as a result of this. And that's not to even consider what's going to happen when you think about this year's harvests. So this is on top of the Western United States being in a severe drought right now. So farmers were already saying that their yields were going to be significantly lower, some as much as 50% lower, because of the way that the winter wheat was impacted by the super warm, dry season. But now, farmers being faced with significant fuel increase costs, they might choose not to plant, or they might not be able to afford as much fertilizer. And so that will additionally compound those reduced yields. So some farmers are looking at reduced yields of 50 to 70%. Do we think that we produce enough food in the United States for us to be self-sustaining when we can't import anything because there's no jet fuel or no tanker fuel and no way to ship that food even across country, even if it's domestically imported? I mean, the United States is massive, and the distance from farm to table in a lot of communities is a long freaking way.
Others are talking about growing gardens, learning to cook from scratch, reducing debt, or building small emergency savings.
Have y'all seen the farmers speaking out, warning about what's to come? Like, I know all of our algorithms have people from China telling us how advanced they really are and how we really do suck, and we spend 10 times the amount of stuff that it costs them to make. But yeah, the farmers are speaking out. They are sounding the alarm bells. They are talking about our food and the food supply. Truckers are talking about loads that they are picking up that do not have the same weight that they're used to. They're having to drive farther and longer and pick up less, which means they get paid less. If you are not growing a garden, if you do not have seeds and some soil in a pot on your windowsill, please do that today. Tomatoes are easy to grow. Get you some tomatoes, some peppers. Microgreens are super easy. They come up really quickly. You need rice and beans. Even if you can't get anything else, get some rice, some beans, and some salt.
For these people, preparation is not about panic. It is about creating options and reducing risk if life suddenly becomes more difficult.
Things are deteriorating rapidly around energy. And so I just want to really have a quick conversation It's not actually going to be that quick, but I want to have a conversation with everybody about what you're doing to prepare for that. By the summer, we could potentially be facing an energy crisis like the world has never seen. Already in Asia, they're limiting flights because they're running out of jet fuel. Do you understand that in the United States of America, over 80% of our food is imported? And so if there's no jet fuel to get the food to us, that's a problem. So then, you say, well, they'll drive it to us. Well, there's not going to be fuel to drive shit to us. So the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to run out of food. The second thing that's going to happen is our water treatment facilities are going to shut down. Also, just to get water to your tap requires energy. I don't know if people realize that, but it does require energy to get water to your tap. And so I just want to talk about some simple things you could be doing right now to prepare for what is potentially right around the corner. I'm talking this summer. First things first, water. It's the most essential thing. There's two things that I need you to start doing right now. The first is every time you empty a container of milk or any sort of jug that you can clean out thoroughly and sanitize, you need to do so and fill it with water and put it in a closet somewhere. Ideally, you would put some sort of water preserver in there, but it's not necessary because water by itself will sit for quite a while before you get into any sort of dangerous situation. So fill your jugs right now full of water, and then after a month, then empty them out, put them in your plants, and refill them while you still have water. The other thing you can do is, I think they're about $10. You can buy water bladders, and you put them in your bathtub, and if your water treatment facility starts to go down and you can have enough warning, fill those water bladders in your tub full of water. They'll hold about 100 gallons. Now, if you had 2 tubs, that's 200 gallons of water. For a family of 2, that would last you about 4 months, actually, assuming you're not chugging water like crazy. So that by itself, that's $20 that you could spend to fill your bathtubs full of water. And it'll keep that water clean, okay? That's the most important thing. The second thing is for $11 to $15, you can get a 20-pound bag of rice. For about $20 to $25, you can get a 20-pound bag of beans. Do those 2 things. Beans and rice will last you a long time. They never go bad. So even if you never use them, it doesn't matter because they'll never go bad. Obviously, canned goods are ideal. And if you say, well, like if we lose power, which is also a possibility, how are you going to cook the beans and rice? You do need to invest in some sort of burner, just one burner that is fueled by these little canisters of fuel, and that's all you need. That's all you need. And you don't want to have to be going outside, because here's the worst case scenario and the most likely scenario, that the government then starts to come in with tanks and trucks full of supplies for people. And then you are fighting everyone in your community to get to those supplies. And we've all seen the videos of what that looks like. And that is where people will lose their minds. So ideally, you just want to have enough to survive long enough to not have to go to the government distribution centers and fight everybody else for water and some food. If you can't afford, just to prep to survive for 3 to 4 months is no more than $100 if you just are resourceful. And so I hope that you all will consider doing that. It's really almost inevitable at this point that we're going to be faced with something like this. And maybe it won't be this extreme, but who cares? You spend $100, you're protected. Anyway, good luck, everybody. Don't come to my house because I won't let you in.
Some people also focus on self-reliance. They are discussing ways to become less dependent on fragile systems by learning useful skills, fixing things themselves, storing essentials, or planning ahead. Even small steps like keeping extra groceries in the house or saving a little money each week can bring peace of mind during uncertain times.
If you have been to the gas pump in the last couple days, you know the prices have already skyrocketed. That's going to affect everything. Going to the grocery store is also twice as expensive as it was this time last year. So here's everything I'm growing this year to prepare for war times. coming out strong, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are one of the most nutrient-dense crops you can grow. These are my slips. You can start sweet potatoes from sweet potatoes that you buy at the grocery store. I love these purple ones. Choose an organic variety. They are less likely to have been sprayed with a sprout inhibitor. Start sweet potatoes in a box with some soil and just stick them down in there, keep them watered. They will start to make little slips. I'll do another video about that. The second thing are regular potatoes. Regular potatoes are really easy to grow. Here in California, you can pretty much grow them year round. Next up are beans. I prefer varieties that you can eat both fresh and dry, because then you have dual crops. You can harvest them fresh and eat them while they're green, or you can let them dry on the vine and become dry beans. You can actually buy dry beans like this at the grocery store. It's way cheaper than buying a seed packet, and these are great to have as food storage, and you can also plant them and grow them. The next crop is cabbage. This is such a useful crop. They stay fresh in the garden, in the ground, for quite a long time before they bolt. I prefer these red cabbages, red acre specifically. I also like the mammoth red rock, although they do take up a lot more space. They're mammoth size. Smaller cabbages, I've been loving these little Caraflex cabbages. They're cutie patooties, and you can stick them in the corner of just about any bed. Next up are summer squashes. I only plant scallop squash anymore. These keep a lot longer than either of those. I've had ones that have kept literally through the winter. I love these English custard ones because they're so creamy. And I also love these zucchini rampicantes. These you can eat as a summer squash. They are almost all flesh, very little seed. You can also grow them a little bit longer. They'll start to change color, and you can keep them as a winter squash, so they're kind of dual purpose. Winter squash, I am growing red curry, kabocha, regular size pumpkins. I have a fairly small garden. I would love to grow giant pumpkins, but I just don't have the space. I'm also gonna try growing parsnips this year. I have not tried them before, but I love parsnip and I would really love to. I have carrots in the garden, beets. Root crops can store a long time, so those are a good call as well. Tuck bush beans in between flowers and have them sort of hang over the side and edges of my beds. This is my absolute favorite bush bean, these jade bush beans from High Mowing. They're so straight. They actually grow a lot faster than any of the other bush beans I've tried. I'm also going to grow tons of flowers because I want it to be beautiful, and I want it to be a safe space that I can go to when everything outside is so chaotic. Perennial kale, garlic, and onions. Of course, I have fruit trees, strawberries, blueberries, and of course herbs and natives that will bring in pollinators. We are in some deeply wild times, friends, and your garden can be a source of nourishment for both your body and your soul. We can see where the world is heading. I highly recommend, please, 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 grow something, plant something, start to think about how you are going to feed yourself.
At the same time, some online content clearly pushes worst-case scenarios without evidence, which can increase panic instead of helping people think clearly. At the end of the day, nobody can predict the future with certainty. There will always be rumors, warnings, and uncertainty. But being steady, practical, financially aware, and mentally prepared will always matter more than panic. Sometimes the smartest response is not fear. It is quiet preparation, clear thinking, and staying grounded no matter what happens next.